All right, it's 1:45, but we're probably getting people still coming. So let's give it 2 minutes. Well, 1 minute actually, not 2.
A minute for Pastor Marco to tease you guys.
And to drink my coffee, or rather my Kermit tea. With my Kermit tea going on. I think every morning Josette sits there with juice. Elke oggend in dieselfde restaurant. We loer vir ons. Okay, well at least
she's ready. She's waiting.
I show at least it's a nice photo, but we never see her face. I don't know if she still looks like that. Hey, we live. All right, let me be more serious. All right, let's see. Just when I woke up like this.
Okay, Belinda.
Alrighty. No, you lost quiet. All right, I woke up like this. Okay, let's get going. Okay, good morning, everybody. All right, people are still coming in, but I'm going to kick off. So this morning's topic is a continuation of Tuesday. As we all know, Thursdays are a continuation of Tuesday because on Thursday, we do a Q&A on Tuesday's topic. So Thursday tends to be a little more informal. Cindy, pull your face in.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we can't see you. You disappear. How are you going to go on piercing the darkness if you can't even show your face on Zoom? All right. Very good. You're back now. So the topic is privacy versus secrecy. Privacy versus secrecy. Now, we are going to be doing the Q&A on that. And after we do that, we will do the communion.
Oh, am I out again?
Yes, you stay out.
Sorry. I thought you were being romantic.
Yeah,
by touching my face.
No, you must be in. I'm putting your face in. All right. Oh, okay. All right. So we know that there are some ground rules, and Pastor Cindy always goes through them. So I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm not going to go through them very long. You guys know that there's the pastor said one. Don't do that. The expecting of immediate results. Also watch out for that one. You don't do things today and you get results tomorrow. It takes time. And I wish my spouse was here one. You know, you are here. That's already a big problem solved because you were the issue all along. It actually wasn't your spouse. It was you. All right, I'm just joking. Okay, I'm not joking. I am joking. Of course,
Can I just say something quickly? So yesterday, we have a call with someone. So they're talking to me and they're quite normal and all of that. As soon as they hear Pastor Marco's voice, he just says hello. They start laughing because they expect him to make jokes.
Today is a good day, beloveds. Today is a good day. God is on the throne, but it's also just a very good day. Take accountability if you want authority. That's very, very important. Now, let's go into today's topic because today we're going to talk about a really cool subject. You know why I like these subjects? This particular one, because it causes trouble. It causes trouble because until now you've been hiding your cell phone. You've been hiding your cell phone from your husband and from your boyfriend and your wife and your girlfriend, and you didn't want them to see what's going on. But now they want to know what's going on, and they're looking for that second phone of yours. Do you know that I got the shock of my life when I went for marriage counseling when Pastor Cindy and I first got married? You know what the pastor asked me? Do you have a second phone that you hide from your wife? I was like,
oh, you're planning to hide from your wife.
Yeah, he said that what men do is they have a phone at work.
A work phone, like a work wife.
Like a cell phone at work. And they keep that separate. and their wife never hears
Look
about
at-
that phone.
Look how Mandy's eyes are good.
Now the way you are looking, that's the way I felt when he came with that story. I was like,
What?
people do that. And yeah, it is actually a thing. People actually do that. They keep second phones, but their wife will never see that phone because that's the girlfriend's phone.
Sure. It's deep.
Yeah, they talk to the girlfriend on that phone.
The men are getting less on this program, eh?
Eh?
Where is the men?
No, they're the problem.
Mark,
I mean, you don't want to come on if you know they're talking about you. Hey, come, I must be serious.
yeah.
This is a serious
Mark
topic.
is representing, yeah.
Okay, now let me just be serious. I'm gonna hand over to you now. Oh, Deepak is on Facebook,
Yeah.
but Deepak doesn't want to come on Zoom. All right, come on, I'm gonna be serious now.
No, you asking the first question.
Yeah, no, you must answer. All right, let's talk about secrecy versus privacy. Secrecy versus privacy. When does privacy border on secrecy? Let's talk about those, and let's define it and make it. Let's make it clear that there's a difference, and one is okay and one is not okay.
Okay, I think, like, just in terms of what Pastor Marco said now, we must understand that there is a difference between privacy and there's a difference between secrecy. They are not the same thing. Privacy is sometimes the fact that someone just wants their private time alone, or maybe the work. We spoke about this on Tuesday, where we said, what if you are serving in a certain capacity and that particular work position requires you not to share every single thing? So when you have that kind of scenario, it is quite obvious that you should then communicate with your spouse. And in situations like that, what the spouse normally does, because if you know there are certain things that is coming on your phone and it is quite sensitive, that is not for everybody else's eyes, you will obviously communicate with your spouse. So even in privacy, there's still communication. There's no lack of communication, because you will go to your partner or you will go to your spouse and you will say to your spouse, look, I'm dealing with a very sensitive matter. And because the matter is so sensitive, this and that for this time, please maybe don't go through my phone because this and this and this and that is happening. So privacy is above board. There's always communication, strong communication. You know where you stand. You can't really say that I don't know what's happening. You didn't tell me, you're hiding things from me. Because when it comes to privacy, like I said to you on Tuesday also, there were times where I was involved in certain things that I needed to do in the capacity of the school where I was functioning at there, where Pastor Marco couldn't know what I was busy doing. And I told him that I'm going through this period where...
And I really wanted to know.
No, you didn't want to know. Did you?
I was bus.
Oh, is it? I don't know you like that.
Yeah, but I was just pretending to be mature.
Oh, I didn't know you like that. But anyway, so so there were things that he couldn't know, but it was my responsibility to communicate with Pastor Marco and to tell him, look, I'm entering into this phase. We are going to be doing this, that, and the other. We're signing non-disclosure documents where we cannot actually speak about the things that we are doing. And of course, Pastor Marco understood. There was no suspicion there. There was nothing that he thought, okay, something is going on, because communication was there. And that is what privacy does. You communicate. Also with privacy, what we need to understand is that people have different personalities. So if the person says to you, I just need some time out, doesn't mean that they are necessarily going to go and have an affair. Maybe they want to drive out, they want to go somewhere. They want that private time to themselves, because people like introverts, they need to have time separate to reboot. So when it comes to privacy, there is a very distinct difference. It is not the same thing. But secrecy, on the other hand, is something that is secret. You're hiding your phone. When your wife picks up your phone, she's not even opening your phone, or your husband's not opening your phone, your heart already begins to beat because there's something that you're trying to hide from them. Secrecy is something where there's no communication. Secrecy doesn't allow for you to be open with the person, because if you just tell them this particular thing and they ask questions, you won't be able to answer the questions. So there's a very distinct difference between the two. The one allows you to communicate and the other does not allow you to communicate, because you don't even want to say a word, because if you do say something, what if they ask more questions?
Yeah.
So the difference is really, I would say, communication. Because with secrecy, there's just a whole hiding thing that goes on. Like Pastor Marco says, people have separate phones, and the person doesn't even know you have a second phone. Why should your spouse not know you have a second phone? But if you have a second phone and your spouse knows it's for work matters, or whatever they are serving, in whatever capacity they are serving, they won't touch the phone, because now they know, okay, there are certain things on there that I can't see. But there needs to be communication. So Pastor Marco, in a nutshell, for me, what I would say when it comes to this particular one,
Yeah.
It is the communication that matters.
Yeah.
Because when there's communication, there's clarity, and people won't stress so much in terms of you are doing something wrong. And that is the difference between privacy and secrecy. The one wants you to know nothing, where the other one still brings you in and communicates and says, this is what is going on. Please work with me, because this is the situation.
You know what? I actually want to add something there. Okay. And I think there's a gray area. And I'll tell you why I think there's a gray area. It's because of maturity levels and differences in personalities. And I'll explain why. Because if you, there's obviously privacy. Now we know that is like, oh, Pastor Marco can't see my school stuff because, you know, I'm on Exco and he's not, and he mustn't know. There's obviously that important one. And then there's obviously...
Yes, Sandy, I was
All right. And then there's obviously the secrecy one, where you're having an affair with somebody and you don't want anybody to know. So I'm just going to the opposite extremes. But then there is a kind of a gray area, I think, where there are some things your spouse just can't handle. And say your spouse has jealousy issues. Now I'm talking about the kind of jealousy issues where Johnny didn't even look at you properly, and your spouse is already, why is he looking at you? I mean, he was looking past you at the other girl behind you. He wasn't even looking at you because you weren't even looking that fly on that day. So, but your husband believes that you wanted your booty, but the guy wanted nothing. Your booty. But the guy wasn't even looking at you, but now your husband's like, ooh, he wants my wife, he wants my wife. I mean, it is your wife, so you do think everybody wants her. But the thing is, you need to consider the personality of the husband or the wife. And there are some messages that, you know what, you just need to, you as a recipient of a message that can be a little misinterpreted, I would actually just, that's a difficult one. So I'm not going to give you an answer on what I think about that. But I think also the reader, those who take other people's phones and go through it, have some discretion and some common sense and some maturity to stay out of certain things that you just handle. It's like Pastor Cindy had the Exco thing on her WhatsApp, and and you know what, I go through her phone, but I wouldn't go into that. Okay, because the truth is I didn't care what Donald was saying anyway. Okay, that is the truth. But I mean, the point is that you must also use some common sense. And stay out of things that you have no business going into, because honestly, it isn't your business. So why do you want to read it? I mean, what do you want to know about what's going on there? So stay out of those things, especially also work stuff. Just leave it. It's not your business. Amen. All right.
Okay, so now that we've spoken or given some clarity in terms of privacy versus secrecy, Pastor Marco. Is it okay to have your own private time away from your spouse? Because with some people, this sometimes becomes a problem, because people could either say, no, I don't want you to have time, or maybe the spouse takes advantage and wants to go away for every weekend or something like that. So how do you manage something like this?
Okay. Okay, let's answer the question that you didn't ask first.
What didn't I ask?
Is it okay to have secrecy time away from your husband or your wife?
Okay.
Secrecy time. No. Now, can I tell you what the challenge is for you as a couple? And can I tell you why this is complex and difficult? It's for the two parties to agree and to understand and to discuss and to communicate. There's that ugly word again, communicate. It's for you to communicate and understand that this is private time and not secret time.
Private time. And
private time is a very different thing, because we learn from that prophetic song of Hillsong, even lovers need a holiday. I heard them say.
You know that one, Sandy?
From each other.
Sandy.
All right. Now, I don't really agree with that song, by the way, because my personality type doesn't care about that song. Because as you guys know, I'm an introvert. That's number one. And although I need time to reboot on my own, and yes, I am. So yeah, just leave it there. Don't analyze it. It's true.
Keep it.
Yeah, just keep it there. So I do need my time alone to reboot and to rediscover and to find myself and to get my thoughts together. I also, and that is considered to be alone time, etc., etc. But I also don't want those very close to me to be too far away. Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't mind going away on a 2-week retreat on a Buddhist, no, not Buddhist camp, but a getaway camp. But I was going to say, now you are going to meditate now for 2 weeks or whatever. I don't mind going away, but I don't want to leave my wife and kids behind. So they can be with me on my private time, but it's private from the rest of the world because it allows me to reboot. So there is no one answer fits all scenario. You must decide what it is for you, because when we look at the love languages again, and I actually just want to bring that up because the love languages is really, it's a communication model. And here's the first thing, and I hope that you guys can all see it. I think that you can. But the love languages is a communication model. And the thing about it is, as George Bernard Shaw says, the single problem with communication is the illusion that it's taking place. And very often you find that in a marriage, the husband and the wife are speaking different languages. The one is speaking, you guys know what the 5 love languages are, hey? Let's just go through them. Quality time is a love language, and this is the one that we are maybe referring to in this context. There's quality time. And well, I did the test, we all did the test, and my result was that I'm a quality time kind of person. So I want people around me, but the truth is I don't want everybody around me all the time because it drains me as an introvert. So it's just a matter of when and where. It's not a matter of who so much always. It's just a matter of sometimes I just need to be alone. And then, you get the other love languages. And the point that I'm trying to make is that to take time out alone, if you're a quality time person, then that's going to be meaningful to you. But if you're a receiving gift, words of affirmation kind of extrovert person, then quality time alone or time alone is actually something that you don't really care about that much. So you do need to take personalities into consideration when it comes to private time and away time. And that really is a matter of communication between two parties. Now here's my challenge that I come across with married people or with couples, is that there's very little communication. And can I tell you how I see it very often, very, very often in small things? It's I will tell the wife something, and I think like this is an important thing, like, I don't know, I'm coming to visit on Sunday, or we canceling a meeting, or there is a meeting coming on. We've done this, we've done that. And then 2 days later, I speak to the husband, and I assume the wife would have said something because it's important. Now, my wife never told me. And that shows me already that there's a communication aspect that is not being given time. Now, let me explain what I mean. I believe that communication needs to be given deliberate time in the marriage. You need to take time out to talk. And that's why, in some families, and I also recommend that you actually have dinner together, sit and talk for half an hour or however long it is. How was your day? Is one of the most powerful questions that you can ask your husband and your wife. But here's the thing: when you ask how was your day, don't do the phone call version or walk past me in the shop version. Do the how was your day, and then listen for half an hour. Do that version, because there was a lot that happened in the day. It's just that normally when somebody asks me, how was your day? I'll say, no, it was fine, eh? Even though I had the worst day of my life and I've got so much on my mind and so many things that I'm working on and trying to sort out, and I'm not getting anywhere with it. But I will just say to you, it was fine. The boss almost fired me today, but I will tell you it was fine. Yeah. So you actually need to take about half an hour to listen to how was your day before you proceed from there, because that enhances the communication, and it brings an understanding between couples, so that when you ask the question about private time and privacy, and you ask the question about secrecy, there isn't much secrecy to be misinterpreted, if you get what I'm saying. There isn't much, you see, because sometimes privacy can be misinterpreted as secrecy by the partner. You are trying to hide things from, and the person just wants some private time out. They don't want to talk about certain topics right now. So they just want a bit of privacy in that area. But because you don't communicate as a couple, you interpret that as secrecy, and you think there's something sinister going on, and you really just want to get to the bottom of this. And you waste 2 weeks trying to figure out what's going on in the marriage when there really was nothing. Yeah. So that also creates some sort of an issue. So yeah, I think the key is to figure out the person's style of communication, and to come back to the secrecy, privacy, is to understand the person's mind, because you will also understand that even though, when we talk about cell phones, and I've said this repeatedly, my cell phone to my wife is an open book. She can read whatever she wants. I honestly don't care. But there are certain messages that I think she should just be clever about and not read it. And I think she is clever enough to know that she mustn't read it. And there are messages on her phone that I should be clever enough to just not read it, especially when I know that Pastor Cindy is currently in an engagement with Sandy, or with whoever, Shabs, Moveen, Josette, whoever. And then I know during that time especially, I must stay away from those WhatsApps, because what if they're talking about things that I really did not want to read?
Cool stuff.
Yeah. I'm seeing the gynae for, and I don't want to know. I mean, I can't unread those things. You know what I'm saying? I mean, once I've read it, I've read it. And then I get like, ew. And it's not that it's ew, okay, it's not ew, but it's just more a case of,
it's not relevant to you.
It's not relevant to me, and I should really just be clever enough to stay out of it, because it's not my business. Amen. All right. So let's talk about we're talking about private time and secret time. And sometimes the whole private time thing does connect itself to to trust and mistrust. And let's talk about how do you transition from mistrust to trust?
Okay.
Because trust is a very big issue in marriage. Trust and communication, huge. Because sometimes, you know, when you don't trust somebody, it makes you not want them to do things without you.
Yeah.
You know, the moment the person says, I'm going to Checkers, you just hear, whoa, there's something serious going on here.
Jump in the car with your slippers and your rollers.
Yeah, because you want to see what if it's really now Checkers. So how do you transition yourself out of that kind of mistrust, Pastor Cindy?
Yeah, I think, Pastor Marco, this kind of question is really a question where you need to go and you need to examine yourself. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the problem with trust issues is that before it can get to the trust issues, it starts in stages. And the first stage that it really starts with doubt.
Yeah.
And doubt is something like, okay, so the person did something. Now you are doubting them. You are doubting what they are going to say in the future, what they are doing. But it could have started with a small thing. So if that doubt is not dealt with, again, communication needs to come in. And you need to deal with these things and communicate. Because if you don't, then doubt undealt with then begins to go to suspicion. And suspicion is a very ugly thing because suspicion makes you think about things and see things that were never there. So you can actually mess up your marriage because you are so suspicious. And later on in the life, in your life or in your situation, it then takes you to a place of anxiety. You become so anxious about the whole thing that you can't rest. Now you're sending your spouse messages all the time, the whole day, you phoning them, your personality becomes frantic. The person can't handle you or be around you because you begin to scream and you have all these things in your mind that is not a reality, that takes you into anxiety. Later on, it actually removes you from a place of security where it takes you into fear. Now you don't want the husband to leave. You can't do anything because you are so fearful. And the end result of mistrust is really self-protection, where you go into this thing where you feel like you need to protect yourself. And now just imagine this, that all of this you created in your head. Now you're protecting yourself. You're becoming this ugly person towards your spouse, and self-protection leads to alienation. And when you are alienating yourself from your spouse, then you can't reconnect, and that affects the marriage. So what do you need to do? Because mistrust comes from a place. Mistrust comes from a past experience, whether it is with your current spouse or a previous relationship. You need to deal with mistrust. And how do you deal with it? You need to deal with it in a way where you need to firstly understand that there was a past experience. And then you need to let go of that past experience. You need to be honest with yourself to say, look, my spouse is not the problem. This current situation is not the problem. The problem is my past experience or the person that was in my life before my spouse came into my life. So go back to where the problem was, because the problem was initiated through something. And you need to go and identify that problem. Once you get to that problem, you need to be vulnerable. You need to say to yourself, there is an issue. Because sometimes we are dismissive about these things. We don't want to deal with the fact that there is a problem. You go on, maybe there's been issues between you and your spouse, something happened, or maybe something happened with a previous relationship. Now you're bringing that baggage into your relationship, but you don't want to admit that there is a problem. You're dismissive about it. You need to be vulnerable if you are going to move from mistrust to trust. And then also there's the aspect of forgiveness.
Sure.
You need to truly understand that forgiveness in terms of two phases. Forgiving the person will allow you to have a better relationship in your future. So you have to let go. Then it's also forgiving yourself, because sometimes it's not that you are not forgiving whoever did whatever to you, but maybe you're not forgiving yourself. So those are the things you need to deal with. You need to identify that there was a problem in the past. Then you also need to get into vulnerability, and there needs to be forgiveness, because in that way, complete healing happens, and you can then transition from a place of mistrust to trust.
Sure.
So yeah, that's how I see
Sure,
that particular question, Pastor Marco.
You're deep, man.
But so we are going to, I see that our time is up.
Sure.
So we are going to go into our communion.
Yeah, so much in one morning. Ooh, Lord help us.
We are going to go
Jesus,
into
take the wheel.
Take the wheel.
All right.
And we're going to just break the bread this morning.
Okay.
And then we're going to take the bread. Father, we pray that even as we partake of this bread, Father, that you would even allow us as a church, as we are in the vein of even forgiveness, because when it comes to things like this, when it comes to privacy versus secrecy, Father, there's often a forgiveness thing that needs to happen as well. So, Father, I pray that we will be reminded this morning of your broken body, and your broken body that allows us to let go and to forgive of the things that we need to let go of. And so, Father, as we partake of this bread, bring wholeness into our minds, into our hearts, and into our spirits. Let us partake of the bread. In the same manner, we're also going to partake of the cup, as the cup just comes and washes away everything that is not of God. And there's just a renewal that will take place in your relationship and in your marriage. Let us partake of the cup. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. We will see you again tonight at 9 o'clock. Please come ready to pray. Come with your prayer requests. We are on a mission to get people set in their purpose, and they can't do that if they're in a place where they're in a stuck state, whether it be health, whether it be money, whatever it may be. Come with your prayer requests, and we are going to pray people through. God bless. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and we will see you tonight at 9 o'clock. God bless.